Welcome to the CPC Speaks video podcast. We have an amazing guest, Rashidah Cartwright, one of my favorites at CPC, at the Autism for Badass Moms podcast. I've listened to it myself. Fantastic. So let's just get started. I want to add a question for you to start us off. So what inspired you to start the Autism for Badass Moms podcast?
Well, first, I want to just thank you for having me here. Thank you, CPC, for having me on to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. For those who may not know, I have two children, 4 in total, but I have 2 children who have a diagnosis of autism. One child has a diagnosis of autism and ADHD. The other child has a diagnosis of autism, and most recently, we found out that he is blind in one eye. And so the journey, this is my journey, and I felt that it was an emotional roller coaster when getting the diagnosis, when dealing with just the challenges and the behaviors. And I felt like moms were not highlighted. Their emotional journey wasn't highlighted. A lot of times we focus on the child and their needs, and then we just tend to lose sight of ourselves. But I felt like people needed to know that we go through a lot emotionally, and how to get the resources that he needed put me in a place of feelings of guilt, feelings of sadness, feelings of anxiety, a lot of anxiety. And so the complexities of autism just continued to rear its head. And I did not have any support. I did not know where to go, who to turn to. And so I just put on the facade that everything was okay when everything was not okay. And so in that, I developed a support group for autism moms. And this happened during the COVID period. And in that process of developing that support group, I realized that this emotional aspect of it is common amongst us all, and that moms are fearful of putting themselves out there. And so it was just a validating experience. But a lot of the moms felt they were weak, they weren't strong, that they couldn't do it, they didn't have any hope or anything like that. And so badass comes from me wanting to empower them. I realized that I was strong. I realized that I could tackle any obstacle that came my way with regards to the autism. And so it's changing the narrative of the autism mom who is struggling to the autism mom that's empowered and that can do anything she puts her mind to. And so that's where the podcast came in.
What a great inspiration. I as well have a child with autism. He's in his 20s, he's doing fantastic now, but I remember the roller coaster and the struggle and the confusion and all the things. I remember, in fact, listening to your podcast, it spoke to me honestly, like really, it's like, very, your combination of experience and just knowledge outside of your experiences is really, it's amazing. So what do you hope to achieve with the podcast, both for yourself and for moms who have a child with autism?
So I'll start with the other moms. I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel that the podcast is a safe space where they can be heard. Again, the emotional journey of the autism mom, it takes a back seat again to our children's special needs. And I want to highlight all that we go through on a daily basis. I want to make sure that moms feel that they're being validated and normalizing experience that, you are not alone in these feelings and emotions that come up. Again, for me, I can go through 4 or 5 emotions in one day because I don't know what my day is going to look like with having 2 children on the spectrum, whether a new behavior is going to present itself, the dysregulated mood. I don't know. And so this is a place where moms can feel, again, empowered and realize that they have the strength, the inner strength, and the ability to tackle any problem, any struggle that comes their way. I want to give them hope. I want them to because hope is everything, right? Like I want them to have hope that it doesn't have to remain this way. So if you're feeling sad or depressed about the situation, or you're feeling really anxious, because anxiety is a big one for us.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's one of
So
the hardest things I've ever had to go through. Yeah, in my life. It's yeah. We could go on and on about that for real. It's brought me to tears. I can do it right now. I can see now. I'm feeling myself getting it. It's brought me to tears.
what this is doing for me is it's giving me also a space where I can he- be able to feel validated as well. I love hearing the stories of the women, the resilience and the things that they go through. Because each child with autism, they're all different. They're all unique. You know, they say you need one child with autism. That is true. And is one child with autism. So our stories are so different. And so just hearing their stories gives me hope. And it also, it's like therapy for me in a sense. And just knowing that there's other moms out there that's fighting this good fight is just amazing.
There's so much power in unity and support. And I love what you said about empowerment. I mean, and also hope, because I think going through that situation, it's like being on an island in a lot of ways, and to
Yeah.
know like I can be empowered. Moms can be empowered with this challenging situation in front of them, and there's hope. Things
There's hope.
can and will get better, right? If you stick, excellent. So
And I'm
go.
sorry, and for people out there that are not touched by autism or don't understand like what autism is or what that journey is emotionally like for a mom, I kind of liken it to being in a blizzard, right? So you're in this blizzard, you have snow up to your knees, you're, let's say, 10 miles away from your house, you have no umbrella, right? And all you have is a spoon to get yourself out at home. Yes.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. All I have is a spoon. I don't know how I'm going to get there. This is what I got. I have to figure it out. But that's what it's like every day, navigating this. It is
Yeah.
so complex. I talk to moms who have children who also have feeding issues, moms who have children with significant aggression. Okay. Moms who have to rework their whole schedule in order to get them to appointments or, 40 hours of therapy.
Yes.
It's challenging.
It's part of the reason I stayed at CPC 22 years is because
Mhm.
what much CPC worked around the schedule changes.
Yes.
Like it was, those, you have occupational therapists and physical,
Mhm.
there's so much to manage, so much with that spoon, so much snow to try to
Yeah.
dig. It's every day is like, is a journey for sure. So what kind of topics do you cover on your podcast?
So we do a whole slew of topics. Self-care is a biggie for us. If you meet an autism mom, most likely we're going to say, if you ask us if we have, what do we do for self-care? We're probably going to say to you, who got time for that? Right? Like, who's got time for self-care when I have all these appointments and I have to worry about X, Y, and Z? And so self-care is one that we constantly talk about in each show. How are you prioritizing you? Even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 3 minutes, coming up with strategies. And it doesn't have to be a glamorous way of taking care of you, but we want to drive the message home that this is self-preservation and that if you are not well, how is the child going to be well? And so that is an important topic. We also talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a biggie because the anxiety, like I talked about before, I, get anxious on a regular basis. I get anxious about what am I going to wake up to? I get anxious at how much sleep I'm going to get tonight because my son may decide I only want 1 hour of sleep.
Mm.
I get anxious just with the future of what's going to happen to my son. My one son who is nonverbal and needs more care. Who's going to take care of my child because he
Right.
won't be able to live on his own? Those are the things. That's the tape that plays constantly in my head, and so just that is again a major topic the importance of staying in the moment. I always say, like, if you think about the past, it probably make you a little depressed. And if you think about the future, it'll probably make you anxious. So the only safe place is like the now.
Yeah. Right.
Another topic we talk about is finding supports, asking for help. I had a difficult time asking for help in the beginning. I feel like I thought I should know how to do it. I should know how to navigate this world. And, I did not. And I was afraid that people would think of me as being weak if I asked for help. And I think also, like, working with CPC, doing therapy with clients, having the support of, again, people like you Ken and other, clinicians here, that helped me to be vulnerable and made it okay, because it's hard for me. And I think it's hard for other autism moms to say, like, what, I don't have it right now, or I feel so stressed out, and hopeless that I don't know how I'm going to continue to do this on a regular basis. And so the importance of that is just incredible, of just being able to ask for help and therapy for those who, just that is an option, therapy, or if you're spiritual is an option. So just try to figure out what's going to help them cope every day, each minute of the day.
Absolutely. Get such great stuff. You could, the, yeah, the old analogy, you gotta take care of yourself, or how can you help other people? And
Right.
you've really thrived doing it. It just gives me a newfound perspective working with you. You're working so hard here and doing such a great job and all that you have to do.
But
It's really inspiring.
it wasn't easy, because in the beginning, and again, a lot of autism moms will tell you this is facade. So there was times where I would put on this face that everything was great. I always say, the bigger my smile, the louder I laugh, and I'm going through it. And so I, again, would just show up to work and just kind of, put this face on, just like that everything's okay. When the reality is, my son probably smeared feces all over the wall prior to coming to work. Major things
Now
happen,
that's a rough morning,
right?
right?
Right? Like, I'm
Seriously,
walking my house, my place is gonna stink,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm here. I'm showing
that's
up.
it. That's hardcore for real.
Yeah, it's hardcore. But again, this being here just helped me to be vulnerable, and that it was okay to feel what I felt. That was important to me. And that's why I guess I continue to say.
That's very eye opening, and then just it's really just it emphasizes how great this podcast is, because you really can share this with people. So, what's been the most rewarding part for you as far as hosting this podcast?
Well, I mean, hearing the stories. The podcast is every week. I'm bringing on moms, and again, badass moms. I mean, again, their strength is uncomparable. Okay. And so just hearing their stories, hearing the points where they've gotten to that low point and how they pull themselves out of it. It's just been amazing. And with each story, they're similar, but they're also very unique. And a lot of times the moms after the show will say, you know what, this really helped to free me. Like, by sharing my story, I felt like I was helping someone else. And again, it goes back to the goal of the podcast. I want people to hear their story, because you will hear your story. And then once you hear that story, it'll feel like, oh my gosh, like, again, I'm not alone in this journey. And that's what I again, want people to get out of the show. And I am so grateful for the moms that are able to be vulnerable and share. Sometimes it can get ugly, right? Sometimes we don't want to say that we're can't do this anymore. I had someone on the podcast who contemplated suicide. So there is
Yeah.
so much power in this show, and it's just so gratifying that people trust me to be that space for them.
Yeah, and you're giving people an audience and an ear and a list, an opportunity to speak that story. A lot of it goes unheard. It's behind the scenes,
Yeah.
what's going on in people's homes. With this, this living this life. Doing what you
Right.
have to do.
Right.
So finally, that's cool. So looking to the future, how do you see the podcast evolving in the future?
So I'm always big with stuff. Like I can't go small. So this is going to be a global movement, Ken. Like I'm trying to take over the world.
Great.
I am. I want it to be, again, a platform where all autism moms can come to and know that each week I can tune in on a Tuesday and get my hope back. I have so many things in the works right now, conferences that I'm putting together. I just want to also have moms understand that they can do more with themselves. They can have a career. A lot of the moms have created nonprofits and wrote books and did amazing things. And so I just want it to open up the doors, open up their minds, change their mindsets about what they can and cannot do. I want to speak. I want to be out there sharing my story. And it was hard for me. That first episode was really hard for me because I was concerned about what people would think about me. And so I want to share my story. I want to hear other people's stories. I want other moms out there to create their own podcast and help. The more we can, provide these kind of outlets, the better it will be for the mom, but even more so that child. Even more so that child, because that child deserves a badass mom.
That's
Right.
right.
And I know I'm badass. I was
That's
born
it.
badass.
Yeah. And what a great you've without a doubt, you are indeed a badass mom, and there's no doubt about it. And I've heard the podcast. It's emotional. It's inspirational. It's so well done, and it hits home. And there's without a doubt, you are touching the lives of of mothers, and also, like you said, of children by empowering the mothers. They're helping the children. So it's a great. I'm behind the movement. It's amazing. I can't wait to
Yes. Really.
see it go. So thank you so much for coming today. This is great. A great hearing your story. It's unbelievable. And
Thank you.
keep up
Thank
the
you
great
for
work
having
with the
me.
podcast. And you're going
I
to give the
appreciate it.
information below to in your, to the links and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, you can, reach me at the ABM podcast. It's Autism for Badass Moms. We're on all major platforms. We are weekly. Every week we, sit down with moms to share the raw and authentic stories. And so listen, and I know I know we're wrapping, but I just want everybody to know we're the number 8 in the top 15 autism, the must listen to autism mom podcast on Feastbot. No, out of 145.
Moving
Okay.
up the charts, man.
All
All right.
right.
Top 10.
And your girl's in a
All right.
publication and becoming her mag. So
That's it.
this is a movement. So again, I appreciate being on your show.
Awesome. And we appreciate you. It's so awesome having you here. Thanks, Rashidah.
Thanks, Ken.